You remember the moment you realized it. Maybe it was something she said, something small, something most people would have missed. But you caught it. You caught the way she described you to someone else, and it was not you. It was a version of you, a curated version, a version that fit the story she was telling herself about her life. And something in your chest tightened, because you started to notice the pattern, the way she loved certain things about you but seemed uncomfortable with others. The way she praised you when you fit her vision but went quiet when you did not. The way she wanted you present but only in specific ways. Only when you were playing the role she had assigned you. Only when you were being the person she needed you to be. And at first you tried harder. You tried to be that person more consistently. You edited yourself. You emphasized the parts she seemed to love and minimized the parts that made her uncomfortable. You performed the version of yourself that she responded to, and it worked. For a while, she was happy. She was affectionate. She told you she loved you. But you felt hollow. You felt like you were disappearing. Like you were being loved, but you were not the one being loved. Like she was in love with a character you were playing and the real you was slowly suffocating underneath the performance. And then one day, you could not do it anymore. You showed her something real. Something that did not fit the narrative. Something that was actually you. And she pulled back. She became distant. She seemed disappointed. She said you had changed. And that is when you knew. She never loved you. She loved the idea of you, the projection, the fantasy, the person she needed you to be to complete her internal story. And the real you was never invited to this relationship. Here is the truth that nobody wants to face. Most people do not love other people. They love projections. They love what Freud called object representations. They love the internal image they have constructed of someone, an image that is more about their own needs and fantasies than about the actual person in front of them. And this is not malicious. This is not conscious. This is how the human psyche works. We do not experience reality directly. We experience our interpretation of reality. We do not see people as they are. We see them through the filter of our own unconscious needs, our own unresolved wounds, our own desperate hopes. And when we say we love someone, what we often mean is that we love how they make us feel. We love the role they play in our internal drama. We love the way they fit into the story we are telling ourselves about who we are. But the person themselves, the complex, contradictory, ever-changing human being, we are not in relationship with that person. We are in relationship with our idea of that person. And as long as they keep playing the role, as long as they keep fitting the projection, everything seems fine. But the moment they step out of character, the moment they reveal something that does not match our internal image, we do not adjust our image to match reality. We reject the reality that does not match our image. Freud understood this phenomenon deeply. He called it transference, and he understood it as one of the most fundamental dynamics in human relationships. Transference is what happens when you unconsciously transfer feelings and expectations from past relationships onto current ones. When you project onto a new person the qualities, the roles, the patterns from earlier relationships, usually from childhood, usually from your primary caregivers. So when she looked at you, she was not really seeing you. She was seeing a template, a shape, an archetype that you happened to fit. Maybe you reminded her of her father and she was trying to get from you what she never got from him. Maybe you represented safety and she needed you to be the reliable one, the steady one, even when being steady all the time meant you could not be human. Maybe you fit her fantasy of what a partner should be, and she fell in love with that fantasy, not with the messy reality of who you actually are. And as long as you stayed in that template, as long as you kept fitting the projection, she experienced that as love. She felt connected. She felt safe. She felt like she had found what she was looking for. But she had not found you. She had found a mirror for her own internal needs. And you became invisible. You became a function, not a person. And here is what makes this so painful. You probably felt it from the beginning. You probably sensed that something was off. That her love felt conditional in a way you could not quite name. That you were being loved for what you provided, not for who you were. But you wanted so badly to believe in it. You wanted so badly to be loved. So you ignored the signs. You told yourself you were being paranoid. You convinced yourself that all relationships require some compromise, some performance, some editing of self. And maybe they do. But there is a difference between healthy adaptation and total self-erasure. There is a difference between growing together and disappearing into someone else's fantasy. And you crossed that line. You lost yourself trying to be the person she could love. And the tragedy is that even when you succeeded, even when you played the role perfectly, it was never really you she was loving. It was the role, If you are feeling the weight of this recognition, if you are starting to understand that what you experienced was not love but projection, take a moment and like this video, not just for engagement, but as validation, as acknowledgement that your pain is real and your experience matters, that you are not crazy to feel unseen. You are unseen. Let me pause here for a moment because I need to ask you something that matters. Have you ever felt like you are living two lives at once? The one everyone sees, where you smile and function and pretend everything is fine, and the one inside your head, where you are struggling, confused, doubting every choice you make. That split, that exhausting performance of being okay when you are not, it is something Freud understood deeply. And I want you to know something. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are human. And what you are feeling right now, this exact struggle you are carrying, someone else watching this video is feeling it too. They are sitting there thinking they are the only one, just like you might be thinking right now. So I am going to ask you to do something that might feel vulnerable, but it is important. Go down to the comments right now and type this exact phrase, I feel this. Just those 3 words. I feel this. You do not need to explain. You do not need to write your whole story. Just let those words be your voice today. Because when you do that, something powerful happens. The person scrolling through these comments, the one who feels completely alone in their pain, they are going to see your comment. And for the first time in maybe days, weeks, or months, they are going to realize they are not alone either. Your 3 words might be the thing that helps them breathe a little easier tonight. This is not just about engagement. This is about connection. This is about breaking the silence that keeps us isolated in our suffering. Freud built his entire life's work on one simple truth. We heal when we speak what has been hidden. So speak it now. Go to the comments, type I feel this, and know that by doing so, you are not just helping yourself. You are helping every single person who needs to know that what they feel is real, is valid, and is shared. Do it now. I will wait. Now let me tell you how to recognize when someone is loving the idea of you rather than the actual you. The first sign is idealization. At the beginning, she saw you as perfect. She praised qualities in you that you were not even sure you had. She made you feel like you were everything she had ever wanted, and that felt incredible. That felt like finally being seen. But Freud would tell you that idealization is not love. Idealization is projection. It is someone imposing their fantasy onto you. And the problem with being idealized is that you are being set up for inevitable devaluation. Because you are not perfect, you are human. And eventually, you will show her something that does not fit the idealized image. And when you do, when the fantasy cracks, she will not adjust her expectations to accommodate reality. She will be disappointed in you for not being the person she invented. And you will feel the shift. You will feel her pulling away. You will feel her love becoming conditional, and you will try desperately to get back to that place where you were perfect in her eyes. But you cannot, because you were never perfect. She just needed you to be. The second sign is that she only engages with certain parts of you. She loves when you are strong but has no patience for when you are vulnerable. She loves when you are successful, but becomes distant when you are struggling. She loves the parts of you that make her feel good, but rejects the parts that require her to actually show up for you. This is not love. Love is the capacity to engage with the whole person, the light and the shadow, the strengths and the weaknesses, the parts that are easy and the parts that are difficult. But someone who is in love with an idea cannot do that. They can only engage with the parts that fit their projection. The rest gets ignored or minimized or treated as a betrayal, as you failing to be who she needs you to be. And over time, you learn to hide those parts. You learn to only show her the acceptable version. You learn to be half a person in the relationship because being a whole person means being rejected. The third sign is that she is more in love with the relationship than with you. She talks about how perfect you are together, how you are her person, how this is what she always wanted. But when you listen closely, it is all about the story, about the narrative she is constructing, about how this relationship makes her feel about herself. You are a character in her story, not a person in your own right, and you can feel it. You can feel that you are interchangeable, that any person who fit this role would do, that she is not actually curious about you, about your inner world, about what you think and feel and dream about. She is only interested in how you function in her narrative, and that is lonelier than being alone, because you are with someone, but you are still unseen, still unknown, still playing a role in someone else's fantasy while your real self goes unnoticed. The fourth sign is the way she responds when you try to be authentic, when you express a need she did not anticipate, when you have a feeling that does not fit her script. When you make a choice that serves you but inconveniences her, she does not engage with it. She does not try to understand. She becomes hurt or angry or confused. She tells you that you are not being yourself, which really means you are not being the version of yourself that she needs you to be. And this is devastating, because it confirms what you suspected all along, that her love was never for you. It was for the performance. And now that you have broken character, now that you have revealed something real, she cannot handle it. She does not want the real you. She wants the idea. And when the real you shows up, she experiences it as a betrayal. Freud would also tell you about something else that is happening here. He would tell you about narcissistic object choice. This is when someone chooses a partner not based on who that person actually is, but based on what that person can provide for their own sense of self. They are not looking for a relationship with another subject, another complex human being. They are looking for an object that will reflect back to them the image they need to maintain, and you became that object. You became the mirror, and as long as you reflected back what she needed to see, she felt like she loved you. But the moment the reflection shifted, the moment you stopped performing the function, her love disappeared, because it was never really there. Not for you. It was there for what you represented, for what you provided, for how you made her feel about herself. You already know this, but we're not ready to understand ourselves alone. The human mind is vast, complex, and often frightening to explore without guidance. If this content is helping you see yourself more clearly, if these insights about Freud's work are bringing light to parts of yourself you've kept hidden, then consider subscribing to this channel. This is not just another psychology channel. This is a space where we explore the depths of human nature together, where we take the most profound concepts from psychoanalysis and make them accessible, practical, and deeply personal. Every video here is designed to help you understand not just theory, but yourself, your patterns, your fears, your desires, the invisible forces that have been shaping your choices without your awareness. When you subscribe, you are making a commitment to yourself. You are saying that you are ready to look deeper, to understand more, to stop running from the truth of who you are. And I promise you this, I will be here every week, bringing you insights that matter, explanations that actually make sense, and perspectives that can genuinely change how you see yourself and the world around you. This journey of self-understanding is not easy. Freud knew this. He spent his entire life mapping the human psyche precisely because he understood how lost we can feel inside our own minds. But you do not have to walk this path alone. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Become part of a community of people who have decided that understanding themselves is worth the discomfort, worth the effort, worth the time. Because at the end of the day, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. And that relationship deserves your attention, your curiosity, and your courage. So subscribe now, and let's continue this exploration together. Your future self will thank you for taking this step today. So what do you do with this knowledge? How do you heal from being loved as an idea rather than as a person? Freud would tell you that the first step is to grieve the relationship you thought you had, to grieve the love you believed was real, to grieve the version of her you wanted to exist, because that version never existed. She was always only capable of loving projections, not people. And that is not your fault. That is not something you could have fixed by being better or different or more consistent in your performance. That is a limitation in her capacity for genuine intimacy. And you need to let yourself feel the pain of that. The pain of realizing that you were never truly seen, that you gave yourself to someone who could not receive you, that you disappeared trying to be loved by someone who could only love fantasies. The second step is to reclaim yourself, to find the parts you edited out, the parts you hid, the parts you minimized or suppressed or pretended did not exist because they did not fit her narrative. Those parts are still there. They have been waiting for you to come back, and they need to be integrated. They need to be honored. They need to be brought back into your sense of self so that you can be whole again, so that you can stop performing and start existing, so that you can be a person again instead of a role. And this takes time. This takes conscious effort. This takes the willingness to disappoint people, to be misunderstood, to be rejected for being yourself. Because the alternative is to keep disappearing, and you cannot afford that anymore. The third step is to learn to recognize real love, to understand the difference between someone who loves you and someone who loves their projection of you. Real love is curious. It wants to know you. It asks questions. It engages with your complexity. It does not need you to be perfect or consistent or easy. Real love can hold contradiction. It can handle your darkness. It can be present for your struggles. Real love does not punish you for being human. It does not withdraw when you stop fitting a template. It adapts, it grows. It makes space for you to change and evolve and become. And when you have experienced the false version, when you have been loved as an idea, real love will feel different. It will feel safer. It will feel more solid. It will feel like you can breathe, like you can exist, like you do not have to perform to be worthy of presence. Here is what I need you to understand as we close. She never loved you, and that is devastating. That is a loss that deserves to be grieved, but it is also liberating, because it means you can stop trying, you can stop performing, you can stop editing yourself into someone you are not. You can stop carrying the weight of a relationship that was never real. And you can start to ask yourself a different question. Not how do I get her to love me? Not what did I do wrong? Not how do I become the person she needs? But this, who am I when I am not performing? Who am I when I am not trying to fit someone else's projection? Who am I when I allow myself to be fully human, fully complex, fully real? And that person is worth knowing. That person deserves to be loved. Not as an idea, not as a function, not as a character in someone else's story, but as themselves, whole and human and imperfect and real. So let me ask you this as we close. What parts of yourself did you hide to keep her love? What did you suppress? What did you edit out? What did you pretend did not exist? And now that you know her love was never real anyway, now that you understand you were never going to be seen, no matter how perfectly you performed, what would it look like to bring those parts back? To reclaim them? To integrate them? To allow yourself to be whole again? Share this video with someone who needs to hear this. Someone who is still trying to be enough for someone who can only love ideas. Someone who is disappearing into someone else's projection. Someone who needs permission to stop performing and start existing. And tell them you were never the problem. You were just in a relationship with someone who could not see you. And that is not your failure. That is their limitation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to face this painful truth. Thank you for choosing yourself, even when choosing yourself means letting go of a relationship you wanted to be real. You deserve to be loved, not the idea of you. You, the real you, the whole you, the parts that are easy and the parts that are difficult, all of it. And that love exists. But you will never find it if you keep performing for people who can only love fantasies. Stop performing. Start existing. Start being whole. That is not selfishness. That is survival. That is the only way forward.